Hey, it's Ben Kale with Historic Real Estate LA, and today I'm here in gorgeous Ladera Heights to reveal the magical restoration of the Linnell Residence by Architect Charles Wong. I was fortunate enough to help my dear friends Adrian and Jason purchase this property a year and a half or 2 years ago, and their journey perfectly captures the pain, pleasure, joy, and total hell that we all go through finding, purchasing, and restoring these magical architectural Los Angeles properties. So without further ado, let's go check it out.
Well, I mean, we were looking for a house that had character, that was intact, original, that was special, ideally mid-century modern, something, and ideally in this neighborhood, Ladera Heights.
We specifically wanted Ladera Heights because even though I grew up in LA, I actually did not really know this neighborhood, but as soon as we found this neighborhood, we started a tour and look at houses, I fell in love with this neighborhood. I was like, we're moving to Ladera Heights. And we looked at a couple of streets. We looked at this street in particular, Holt, and I think we looked at a house on Wooster. And we're like, this, we wanted to find a really cool mid-century modern house in this neighborhood. We saw it in the fall and we walked in and we're like, this house is amazing, but this house needs a lot of work and they're asking a lot of money for it. We need a new roof, we need new floors, and ultimately we needed new systems as well. And so in my head, I was like, we can probably find another beautiful house in this neighborhood with less work. So we didn't make an offer the first time around. And we were both kind of talking about the house a little bit, and then I got a notice from Redfin that the house was back on the market. And in my head I said, oh, that house was great. So I was in Marina Del Rey. I decided to drive over the neighborhood and I sat in front of the house for like 5 minutes and looked at the house and I said, that's it. We made an offer in January and we were not, and I knew we were gonna get it. The thing is, remember in our purchase price, we had 5 sevens in our purchase price. I'm like, we're gonna get it. And we were the second offer. And we're like, and I was super disappointed. I'm usually not so attached, but I was really disappointed. And then a couple weeks later, the first offer fell through and we were the backup. We were in escrow for 5.5 months. The seller, ultimately, he was in financial trouble, but he did not want to sell the house. So he was actually in bankruptcy, so we had to work with him in the bankruptcy court to get approval. But he was not a willing seller, and so because of the court system and the seller didn't really want to sell, it just took a long period of time. We had our loan approval in February, so we had to continue to work with our bank to keep our rate for 5.5 months, and then we never knew when we were going to close escrow. It was stressful.
Or we had closing dates that would come, they would go, and we have since learned, people that have walked by the house that live in the neighborhood, they all say, oh yeah, I was in escrow on that house too, and they walked away. So people before us, got frustrated so much that they just left. The condition of the house was, it pretty much needed everything. So you were immediately met with mold, significant amounts of mold in the entry, in the kitchen, in the laundry area. That was pretty much everywhere. So that was one big hurdle, but it was also a realization that the roof had been leaking for years, if not a decade. A pool full of sludge. Plumbing that wasn't working. In some places you couldn't even turn off the plumbing, so you just had water running. So it was just one thing after another. Flooring that was all the wood flooring that was here before was completely destroyed from water infiltration over the years. So it was a culmination of a realization that we knew it needed a lot, but we realized it just needed everything. I think the plumbing actually was an item that we didn't know was going to be this extensive. So the house is built on slab, which means you have to dig through the concrete, trench across the house to install all new lines. One, I don't think we thought we knew we would have to take out the entire plumbing and install new, but also the extent of it. Literally you had from one end of the house to the next, you had a trench going through, and mounds of dirt in the master bedroom, the family room, the kitchen, and they were there for it felt like months, but maybe it was, but it was just forever. You just never saw any progress, but you had plenty of holes in the house in terms of just installing the plumbing alone. And it was incredibly labor intensive and costly to be able to do that project. The house was built or designed by Asian American architect Charles W. Wong. Probably a week or so in the house, I was rummaging around in the garage, and one of the upper cabinets we found the rolled up plans titled House Plants, and there it was, a full set of drawings for this house by Charles Wong, and that's when we originally knew who it was designed for. It was the Linnell family, and you'll see their imprint in concrete various places around the house by the family, but that's who it was designed by and confirmed by Wong.
Our original vision was to restore the house to its original glory. I mean, it's designed so well to the extent it was intact. Like, for example, all the kitchen cabinets, we decided to keep all those kitchen cabinets and just refurbish them. And so it was a lot more labor intensive because of all the water damage. We actually had to build the boxes, but we wanted to keep the front faces of the cabinets and kind of keep that original feel. But I think overall the vision was stay true to the original design, really embrace the kind of the outdoor space because of these amazing windows and because of the Japanese aesthetic. For me, I always felt like, there's like this Japanese calm in the house, kind of this peaceful calm, and so that's what we continued in the master bath as well. Even though it's very modern, it feels very calm in there.
The more we got into it, the more we realized just how special this house was and unique. There is no other house like this in this neighborhood.
5 months of escrow, 7 months of rehab, and then even after that, I mean, during this past year, during the pandemic, we had nowhere to go, so we had so many house projects. But in the end, it's been worth it.